Hello, everyone. My name is Igor Tomych, and I'm CEO of DashDevs. And today I'm conducting interviews at Merchant Payment Ecosystem. And today with me, Arnaud Crouzet, who is discussing and panelist on the panel, which is really interesting for me. It's false promises and pragmatic innovations. It's a really important one, and I have a few questions for you.
Good, thank you.
The first one that I really would like to know, what is the biggest gap today between payments hype and real merchant value? Because a lot of things are happening from the marketing side. Stable coins, agentic AI, and overall, but what is the reality, what merchants are facing right now?
It's a very good question, very interesting question. And indeed, as you say, the payment landscape is moving so quick now. I would say that somehow everything is possible. We can do a lot of things. And the main question is really what is interesting for merchants in terms of implementation. So for the merchant point of view, it's not obvious because there are different actors coming to see them, proposing their solutions. But at the end, what could fit their expectation and especially the customer journey. And the bigger thing is that merchants, they don't have all the same business. So they don't have all the same needs. Yeah. It is payment, yes, but the customer journey is not the same. So depending on the sector, the activities, they have different expectations, and sometimes they are willing to implement new type of solutions, sometimes clearly not. Just an example on the traditional aspect, if you take buy now, pay later as a simple example, buy now, pay later, it is seen as a very interesting solution and could help all merchants to improve the customer journey and the conversion with customer. But buy now, pay later doesn't fit for all sectors. Yeah. As an example, in the luxury sector for merchants, in the luxury sector, they don't want to use buy now, pay later. Indeed, it could help because they have a huge amount of level of basket and so on. But it could help. But at the end, it's not what they want with their brand. Mm-hmm. So this is just an example that buy now, pay later don't fit and don't match for luxury brands. Yeah. But it's very useful for other brands and other merchants. It's the same with the different evolutions. With agentic, with instant payment, all that need to fit to the customer journey. Yeah. On that specific merchant side. Some payment could be easier than some others, but then for the payment sector is really to understand how to implement at the merchant side. Mm-hmm. I was merchant before, looking on different type of innovations, if it is in-store for face-to-face or e-commerce or a petrol station, a travel agency that we were managing at that time. Clearly, the solutions are not the same. Mm-hmm. And we need really to understand that the payment sector need to understand that. So the main thing is really for payment sectors, payment actors to work closely with merchants. Yes. To understand their needs. And on the merchant side, to be able to think differently. It's not because we always did things in the same way that we need to continue. Yeah. Agentic commerce is the best example. I was discussing with some merchants that on one side, they don't want agentic commerce because they have the feeling that they will lose the end with their customer. They have loyalty programs, they have many things. They want to have additional, with their customer. And it is their customer, as I say. But agentic commerce change the rules. Yeah. If they are not looking on that, or to be agentic companions, let's say, they are losing a huge opportunity. And this is arriving right now. So they need to think on how to use agentic commerce for the benefit of their business and their customer.
We don't know how the payments will be dealt with, who is accountable for the payment execution, how the even strong factor authentication, which is mandated by PSD3, will come and play. Because if OpenAI is reading your card and authorizing the card payments on behalf of you, I don't think so. So that's challenging and interesting time that we're living in.
Yeah, the different actors, they are working closely on that. We need to respect, especially in Europe, the rules, PSD2, PSD3, PSR, so strong authentication, how to manage that, how to have a strong delegation somehow. Mm-hmm. It's no more a strong authentication, it's a strong delegation. How to prove that the agent has authorization to do it on behalf of the customer.
Let's see how it plays out. And the second one, what does good digital identity actually remove from the customer journey? Because we've seen, and you discussed the case with the buy now pay later, and I see that a lot of buy now pay later vendors, they adopt in digital identity to onboard customers easier. But maybe your example is what does it bring to the market?
Digital identity, it's a very, very interesting innovation. First, it's at least a European work on that with the EID wallet. So huge amount of work are done on digital identity. And with large-scale pilots that they are in progress to check and to define how to use a digital identity with payment. Not only for that, but especially for that. It could be a game changer. Because with digital identity, you are really proving the customer that is buying. It's no more someone that knows the code or and the identification code or anything else. It's you are identifying the real person. But it has to be smooth in the customer journey. Not to add an additional layer, a friction layer.
Yeah.
So we need still to find the right way to manage it. Not always obvious. Work are in progress, but as an example, it could help also for 3D Secure. Yeah. You can use digital identity at the beginning of 3D Secure directly with the customer, the merchant interacted with the customer, and to obtain some credential like that, using the 3D Secure rights up to the issuer, and to say, check, it has been done already with digital identity, so not needed to have an additional strong authentication and to have a friction. You can trust the transaction because it's already identified with an approval digital identity wallet.
So basically build in more lean ways to adopt and serve the client.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
Third question, the last for today. Can Europe turn local payment championships into the global ones, or that's still more ambition than reality?
Very good question and very challenging question, indeed. Since years, I would say, we already tried to have a European champion. But at the end, we all failed in that. Not totally, but partially at least. It's why we have done some SEPA initiative. More than 20 years ago, we started with SEPA credit transfer, SEPA direct debit, and also SEPA card framework. The purpose was really to have a European, at least a European champion for that, or at least a European payment way to do it.
Yeah.
We succeed in credit transfer and direct debit.
Yes.
We start to succeed, I would say, for instant payment. I mean, it's done already bank to banks.
Yeah.
But the user aspect is still in progress. So we have initiatives like Wero with API for some countries in Europe. In the south of Europe, we have other type of initiative with Bizum and Europa Alliance. So we are creating some potential champion and instrument potential champions. But it's still very challenging. We still don't have a real European payment for customer. For B2C, we don't have yet that. So this is still in progress, and somehow we all fail because each countries and each actors, they want to protect their perimeters and their solutions. And we have difficulties in Europe to continue to work really all together as a European zone.
Yeah.
So we work very well on the country side, but at the European side, it's still a challenge.
And we're discussing this a lot in our podcast because basically it's not building for one country, it's building for a lot of countries which are in the European Union. And thank you for providing these insights for our viewers. Thank you everyone for listening today. Thank you, Arnaud.
Thank you.